Okay, welcome. Today is the 12th of March 2024 and I'm about to run the release of the WordPress packages from Gutenberg to WordPress Core, and this is for the WordPress 6.5 release candidate to release. So the first thing I've done is I've created this branch, and as you can see it's going to merge into the WP 6.5 branch, and this is on the Gutenberg repo. Here's the URL for that. And I've got this branch, and in this branch are all these individual PRs that I've cherry picked into this release. Now there is an automated script in the Gutenberg repo that will do that for you. It's something like, it's called cherry-pick, and it will try and automatically pick these. And then obviously sometimes there are other ones that you have to do manually after you've done the automated workflow. And I've taken to putting them under two different headings so it's clear. So if I scroll down now, we should see that we still have tests running here, but we've got one approval from our co-release lead. Let's just reload to make sure we can see that. We have an approval from Riyadh, who's my core editor tech lead for this release. And we've seen that the test passed anyway, so we know that this passed, so they've just been rerunning for no reason. So we can go ahead and merge this now. What you do is you change to rebase and merge rather than squash and merge, and the reason for that is that instead of squashing all the commits into one single commit into the 6.5 branch, it will actually play all the commits on top of the 6.5 branch, so then we can see exactly which commits and thus which PRs went into that branch if we need to do any sort of backtracking historical things. So we change this to rebase and merge, and I'm going to confirm rebase and merge on this PR. And away we go, there we go, and it's now merged into the 6.5 branch, and that's all done. Okay, and with this cherry picking branch merged, the next thing we need to do now is actually publish the npm packages for WordPress. So the way we do that is there is an Actions tab in the Gutenberg repo. We can go to this Actions tab, and then we can scroll down on this left hand side and look for the Publish npm packages action. And now all we need to do is say run workflow, and we can say run from the branch is trunk, and the release type is a WordPress release, and the version is in this case 6.5, but obviously that would change for different releases. And there is actually documentation for this, which is quite helpful. It's at the moment it's under the docs contributors code release part of the documentation, and if you search for WordPress releases, there is here an overview of this, and it takes you through it. And I found this this screenshot here quite helpful, which shows you how you should be setting this up. So running from trunk, WordPress 6.0, but it also talks you through how exactly you do this. So now we can publish this branch. Run this workflow, and that's quite simple. And we're just going to hit run and run the workflow. And the workflow has a workflow dispatch trigger, and here we go. Now we can see it running, and we can look here and we can see that I have triggered this to start running, and it's now waiting for review. Now if you are a WordPress core team member, or if you had sufficient permissions, you can tell this to go ahead because it's currently blocked, and I have to say yes, I'm going to approve this. And away we go, approve. And that has now changed the status to queued, and the publishing process will now occur. So as we can see now, the packages have been successfully published. It took about 8 or 9 minutes to do, and now I want to check that the versions are published on the npm registry. So I tend to pick any package. I've gone for the block library package, and what I like to do is open a new incognito session in my browser, so I don't get any weird caching or anything like that. And then I'm looking for the 6.5 tag. Let's look for 6.5. Where's that? Here. WordPress 6.5. The release here is 8.28.6. And then if I scroll down to version history, I can see that the latest one published 14 minutes ago was 8.28.6. So that is good. That means that npm has probably updated to the latest versions, and we are all good. So the next step is for us to sync the packages over to WordPress Core. And luckily there's a script that helps automate this process. So the first thing I've done is update my local copy of WordPress Core, and I've pulled down the trunk branch to make sure I'm up to date, and then I branched off that, creating a branch called Update Packages for 6.5 RC2. Obviously your release will be different to this. And what we can do now is run this script. So the script is called sync Gutenberg packages. And it's important that we pass the dist tag, the correct dist tag, and ours is WP65, but of course yours will be different. So if I run this now, okay, so that's completed, and now we can have a look at the status of our branch. And as we can see, we've got modified package JSON files, and we've also modified the script loader, and the blocks navigation PHP file has changed. Now sometimes I like to use a GUI just to check these, and this one's a good one. I use Git Tower, but you can use whatever you'd like. And I'm just taking a look at what's changed in the navigation file to make sure it's something that's correct, and I happen to know that there was a change to the navigation file that was required for RC2. There's a bug that was identified in RC1, so that's all good. And I can have a look at these and just double check, are we updating to the right versions of the packages? So the first one is, let's have a look at the block library, and it's 8.28.6. And if you remember from earlier in the video, we checked the latest version was for the WordPress 6.5 branch. Let's look for version history because it's quite big. And this is the block library package, and yes, 8.28.6, which matches up with the updated version of that package here. So that is good, and we seem to be on the right path. So what I'll do is I'll commit those changes now. Update packages, and I'm going to commit that. And we are all good, just checking it on the right branch. We are on the right branch, and I'm going to publish this branch. And then what we can do is go to WordPress Develop. And here it is on the WordPress GitHub repo. Now, not the Gutenberg one, the WordPress Core one. And we have a pull request here, so a prompt for a pull request rather. So update packages for WordPress 6.5 RC2. And they already have a track ticket, which I'm going to try and find. And here it is on Core Track. We have a single ticket here that we use for the entire release, which is helpful. So I'll put this one into our GitHub ticket here. So I need to update this one. Track ticket is here. I'm just going to say changes, packages, update for the WordPress 6.5 RC2 release based on, and then I can base it on the refer to my cherry pick PR in the Gutenberg repo. So let's do that based on that one, and that should be good. So we can create the pull request. Okay, so that has completed. All the packages were installed, and WordPress is built locally on my RC2 branch. So what I have is a setup here where I use WP-Env, which is the official WordPress development environment. And what I do is on my development version, I set Core to WordPress Develop, which is on my local machine. So my local copy of WordPress Develop, which means that when I go to the browser and I go to localhost 8888, I am running the WordPress Core from my local machine, which is helpful when you're doing things like releases. What I've also done is made sure that I've deactivated the Gutenberg plugin so that we are definitely only running the packages that are coming with this particular branch of WordPress Core, which is the RC2 branch for 6.5 in my case. So the first thing is there are no errors on the WP admin, and let's check the front of the site. There's no obvious errors, certainly no massive crashes or errors strewn across the screen, which is a good sign. This is obviously only a smoke test, and let's go to the editor. Let's have a look here. The editor does not crash. This is good. Some basic navigation. This is good. Click into the editor. No crashes. Global styles. no crashes. We're just doing some basic testing here. This is nothing obviously in depth. And then what I like to do is go to the branch where I cherry picked my commits and I look for something that I am familiar with. So for example, there has been a bug here with navigation block and erroneous escaping of ampersands, which I love as a title. And I know what this one was, and what was happening is that you were getting this character displayed on the front of the site if you named your navigation item with an ampersand in it. So let's give that a go now, and then we can validate that this is no longer a problem. I've got lots of menus, so let's switch to one here. So I'm going to call this one now sample and page, and I'm going to save it. Ooh. Going to save it, and I'm going to switch to the front of the site, and we should see, and yes, there are no entities. So this is a good sign that our packages have been pulled through correctly. And then I might pick another one. Let's have a look at the changes. Right, yes, there was this one. This one was fixing a behavior to allow people to click on the rich text and edit the link under the cursor, which was a feature of 6.4 but had regressed in 6.5. So if I create a link here and I say sample page and then I click on this link, yeah, okay, that's not great positioning, is it? Okay, so we might have to look at that. I don't know what's happening there. We need to fix that bug. For some reason it's deciding to put itself right over the text. Okay, so that's not great at all. So that might be a bug that we've identified there. So there's the first option for a bug. Okay, so this one is behaving properly, so we're going to have to look at the other one. But basically all we're looking to validate is this particular bug has been shipped in this package release. So it has, because now I can edit underneath the cursor, whereas previously it would automatically focus into the popover. So yeah, that gives me confidence that the right PRs have been picked. There are no obvious errors, and now all we need to do is get approval on our PR in for Core, and then a Core committer will commit that to WordPress Core, and then all the packages will have been synced. And that is the process. A lot of this is documented on the Gutenberg repo and in the WordPress editor handbook, but I will look to improve that in after I finished with this release. But that's it. That's the process for how we sync packages from Gutenberg Core to WordPress Core for a release.